Basically, this came from Jim Jenkins' sketchbook. He was trying to make a Peanut style script, Peanut style comic strip. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
okay, I could see that. I could see like there's, some of the style, maybe he derived a little bit of that from it as well. So,
Yeah, so he basically this was going to be in newspapers and magazines and stuff like that. That's what his intention was, And then all of a sudden, nobody was interested in it. Nobody was really interested in it at the time. It wasn't a funny thing, and this was before reflective comics were a thing.
yeah.
Because right now the internet is full of reflective comics and reflective stuff like that. But
Yeah,
nobody,
right.
but nobody was interested in the late '80s in something like that, which is a shame because that's like the peak of newspaper at that time.
Sure, but like but animation was like so like in your face and just so like
Yeah,
out there at the time. It probably seemed boring. It probably seemed they might have they probably looked at it and said, "This is great, but we'll probably never be able to sell it."
yeah,
You
probably.
know?
And
So,
like they'd made comic strips into cartoons around that time for kids. Like you had the Garfield.
yeah.
Even though the
Oh, that
strip
was a
was made
great
for,
show.
that was a great show.
It
In,
was. It was fantastic.
Interesting fact about Garfield, and Ghostbusters. The voice actor who did Garfield and Ghostbusters is a gentleman whose name I can't remember. I'd have to look that up now because that's going to drive me crazy. But basically, put this guy voiced Garfield and voiced Peter Venkman, right, in the
Right.
Ghostbusters cartoon. Well, as we all know, so it was Gerald Lorenzo Music who did Peter Venkman and Garfield. Well,
Huh.
Venkman and Garfield were played by Bill Murray in the live action things.
Yeah.
So, and he did a really, really good Bill Murray impression.
Yeah, I was about to say because I remember seeing that and thinking that it was kind of in the style, even though it wasn't necessarily him. It was still kind of that drawl, that
Yeah.
very dry, kind of like.
Because I had to look, when I looked it up, I was like, Dave Coulier? No. Because
Yeah,
he actually took over the role after a couple of seasons of Venkman. But
he's a good voice actor, but yeah, I mean,
he is a really good voice actor. And, he's inspiration for Alanis Morissette, too. And,
right.
believe it or not, TLC.
Really, wow, he got around.
Yeah, he apparently is the
He's-
inspiration for the song No Scrubs.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So he's inspiring artists everywhere. Wow. Okay.
Inspiring generations of women to rap off anthems towards him. That's
Wow.
that's a great career highlight.
He's like a reverse Dave Grohl.
Oh, let's not talk about Dave Grohl right this second.
Oh yeah, that's
He's in
it.
hot water right now.
Oh, poor guy.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw some people taking some jabs at him today. Like, there goes my hero.
yeah, I know. His wife wasn't getting the best of him. I mean, just
Uh,
the second one associated with that was I've got another confession to make.
yeah.
Poor
Oh man.
Dave. I mean, nice guy, but you kind of deserve this. You deserve the ridicule at the
Yeah,
moment.
I mean, you play with fire, sometimes you get burned.
But back to Doug real quick. The show was largely autobiographical of Jim Jenkins growing up.
Yeah, and that was anecdote like symptomatic of the time. There's a lot of shows that were doing that. The
Yeah,
Simpsons. I mean, this was slightly before, this predated some of those ones I'm going to mention, but that I would argue that this is one of the ones that kind of set the precedence for that.
yeah,
People started modeling after their own lives because our own lives can be
is a
stranger
story.
than fiction.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, everybody's got their own story, their own angle. So yeah, it's great.
and this was inspired by his growing up in Virginia. So what he wanted to do was, after the comic strip idea went away, he decided that he was going to start writing children's book series. So he wants to make Doug successful. He's going to make this character a success, whether one way or the other. But children's publishers again were not interested.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Nickelodeon heard about this character in this series, and decided to pick up the show for an animated kind of series, right?
Right.
And Jim Jenkins stayed on as executive producer because it was his creation,
His baby. Yeah.
and he knew exactly how it would work. And he was adamant that all episodes and segments had a moral and give the show a purpose, which
Yeah, absolutely.
was a great idea. I mean, I know a lot of people see this cartoon as a square cartoon,
Sure.
considering what was out there. But this was kind of the yang. You had the yangs, and now you needed the yang to it.
Sure.
And by making this autobiographical and making every episode have a point, it was easy to make it good. Because every kid has got that embarrassing story in their back pocket.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. It's back to the relatable point, just like, they're not like, you know, like trying to chop wood with the saw that looks like a phallus off of someone's back. I mean, they're
Right.
like dealing with a school bully or like trying to get tickets to a concert or, it's just stuff that like we all go through.
Yeah, I think this show was geared towards 7 to 12 year olds, which is why it came across as a little, I don't want to say naive, but a little more childish based, a little more
Sure.
childish.
Yeah,
You know?
that was its target for sure. Yeah. So that I for the, you know, early teenagers, it probably would come off as kiddie.
Yeah.
So I get that, but for me, like if you were 8, I was 9, 10, somewhere around there. So we were both kind of in that spot for that, definitely.
Yeah.